Okay, got the radiator and the heater core back from the shop and no problems. Pressure test passed it, so that was good news. Uh, got the nest of animal stuff cleaned out of there. There's just some needle nose pliers and air compressor and vacuum. Got that cleaned out. Also got this damper working a little bit now. So that freed up. And that just basically moves the air from this is the floor vent, so you can have it blow up through the defrost or just shut it off and have it floor only. On that car there's no windows, so the heater just tries to keep you warm, I guess, on a cool day. You're riding around with no windows. Next thing is I've got this large this is a 2 ohm resistor. It's a 100 watt 2 ohm resistor, and we've seen the wire in there. The rodent had chewed some of that wire off of there, so I want to check this out and make sure the motor runs. The wire comes into the front of this, and I don't want to take that apart if I don't have to. So I've got some heat shrink tube. So I'm going to take the end off of this guy, and then I'm going to re-coat this wire. You can see there's lots of places where it's messed up, but I can feed it through this grommet and through that grommet there also, and heat shrink that, and then I can focus my heat wand in there and shrink that, get that wire protected, and then I'll hook it up to a 12-volt battery with this going across. And this is also a positive ground car, so I gotta make sure I hook it up the right way on the battery. So I'll get things prepared and come back in just a moment. Okay, got all the old wire stripped off. I got the new heat shrink pushed up to that spot, and got it all wound on there. And then what I've got is this nice soldering system. It's got a hot air gun that blows out there, and once the air temperature gets up to speed here, then I'll just run it along the heat shrink tube, and we'll be all set. I went ahead and kept this old cover piece, so when I put the new end on there, should be good then, and then we'll hook up a battery and do the next tests. Okay, we got the science experiment hooked up here with a positive ground. You know, this is the positive on the battery, this is the negative. Got the 100 watt 2 ohm resistor in here, and if we do things right, the fan should turn clockwise from this angle, because that's how the fins would push the air up through these vents. So I'm going to touch the ground to the plus, and then this to the minus, and yep, we got a working heater fan. So all right, next thing we got to do is dress these up, make them look a little nicer. If we look real close, there's lots of areas where the paint's come off of this and looking pretty rough. For some reason they have two different grays on here. I found a hammered gray that's really close to both of those. It's just a Krylon hammered matte cast iron, so I think that'll work fine. And I'm going to tape off you know, tape off this wire we just put on, and I'll tape these off. This looks pretty good. I don't want to mess with that. I want to keep that original, so it'll offset that hammered look. So we'll do some taping here, do some blasting, and I want to put some black. I've got some of this. It's engine enamel, but it's high temperature, but it's also chemical resistant. So I want to put some of that on this back plate here, so that that looks nice if you see that from inside the car. Well, had a nice life with this Campbell Hausfeld air compressor. It lasted about 30 years while I was trying to clean up these heater things to get them painted. Finally gave up. Doesn't want to build air pressure, keeps popping the circuit breaker, so we did an upgrade. So now we're going for CFM this time. Got the first coat of paint on, so then I had to, you know, rotate the switch, let all this dry, rotate this switch, and then I'll paint that spot that was under there. From the last video, the plate that was sticking out of the bottom, I just made sure the black plate was on the bottom, so this is the bottom of the unit. Okay. Now we're ready to bring this side down. Now we can put the screws in the bottom. Went ahead and used the Dremel tool and polished up the heads of these bolts, or screws I should say. And then we can't forget to attach the ground screw. I went ahead and polished those up. And with this, there's a big end and a small end. The small end was what was on there, so we'll put that on. I went ahead and used the Dremel tool and just cleaned up the metal edge around there to make sure that this has good contact. And I'll get my multimeter and check that here in just a second, make sure it's got good connection. Okay, now we can do a quick check on the system. Should be like no resistance to this screw, and there's not. It's like 0.1, but pretty much continuity. And then this is the motor lead, so there should be some resistance there, and shows about 10 ohms, so I think we got it. Okay, we got the final product here. Got the new wire with the new end on it, and got the ground all shined, polished up, new paint everywhere. Thing looks nice. Damper lever works the way it's supposed to. So got the pipes cleaned up and ready for reinstall. So the heater's ready.